Dr.Anna Stubblefield is the Kansas City, Kansas School District Superintendent. She has served in this important leadership capacity since 2021. Hailing from Kansas City, Missouri, this Kansas City girl found her passion for education while in college at the University of Kansas, Chalk Jayhawk. She sat with Enterrupt KC to discuss her upbringing, her career trajectory, her current role as superintendent, the opportunities that lay ahead for KCK School District, and we had a lot of fun talking about all things Kansas City. Real quick, shout out JC Harmon Hawks and Mr. Norvan Daniels. JL ain't forgot about you, baby. This is Enterrupt KC. Enjoy this episode.
Welcome to Enterrupt KC, the podcast dedicated to people, places, and things right here in Kansas City. I'm your man D-Rod. This is JL.
Yes, sir.
JL, what's happening, man?
Man, we are back, and I'm wore out already.
Are you?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, look at it, man. It's written all over your face, man.
Oh, my gosh, man. No, man. Look, I'm excited. I'm so excited to be back, man. We took a little break, right?
Yeah, man. We had to go on vacation, man.
Got away a little bit, took a deep breath.
Had some toes in the sand.
Toes in the sand.
Drinks in the hand.
Drinks in the hand. But, you know, a lot of people were asking, like, hey, man, where y'all at, man?
Yeah.
Like, where's the content, man?
Yeah,
like, the episodes, you know, this and that. And I was like, hey, don't worry, because when we come back,
we're coming strong.
We are coming back. Don't worry.
Yeah, man. We needed that, yeah. And I was getting some messages, you know, some calls and some texts being like, what's going on or whatever. And, you know, breaks are necessary.
Yes, sir.
Right. Everybody has them. Everybody needs them.
You know, one of the things, man, so we're going to introduce our guest. But before we get there, one of the things we've talked about almost pretty consistently, at least I try to talk about, you know, because I'm proud of where I'm from, is the fact that I grew up in Rosedale. Shout out Rosedale. Yeah. Graduated from J.C. Harmon High School. Shout out Harmon Hawks. Best class of 99 before whatever happened. But I'm excited, man, because, you know, I used to talk to the principals and assistant principals quite a bit back in my day.
Yeah, like when they pulled you in the office or something?
Yeah. Not always for a good reason.
Come on, man.
But you know, I had a good relationship with them. Let's just say that, right?
I had relationships with mine too, Westport Tigers, man. But you know,
yes, sir,
it was different.
Yes, sir. So, man, with that, man, I just want to go ahead and get right to it, man, and introduce our guest.
Well, let's interrupt him, man.
Let's interrupt our guest. And by interrupt, we mean introduce our guest, none other than Dr. Anna Stubblefield. How we doing?
Hey. I'm well. Glad to be here today.
We're glad to have you. Thank you for taking time.
We are glad to be here with you. Where are we right now?
We are at Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, our central office, just in one of our conference rooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the central offices here for KCK School District, right?
Yeah. This is the central office, district administration, our welcome center, all of our departments. Majority of them are housed in this building.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many staff are housed out of here?
I think it's like 200.
Oh my gosh.
And on this campus, it may be 200. Like this is central office, and across the street is North Central office. Oh, okay. It's about between the two, it's probably like 200 people. Not that everybody is always here, right? But like their offices may be here, but they're in buildings at different times.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people. It is a lot of people. So, Dr. Stubblefield, you have been the superintendent, correct?
Correct.
Of the Kansas City, Kansas School District since 2021. Is that?
That's right. On July 1, I was starting my fourth year. So I'm beginning my fourth year here in Kansas City, Kansas.
Wow. How's it feel? 4 years in?
Many more to go.
3 years in, I guess.
3 years in. You know, I feel like I finally kind of have my a little stability and clarity around a lot of things. Kansas City, Kansas is a wonderful district, but it's also a very complex district. So knowing and understanding a lot of things, like even this week, there's always something you discover when you talk to different people with institutional knowledge about why we do things, if we're trying to shift things, or what things, like what are those traditions we really need to be trying to build off of. But this district has a long, rich history. So 3 years in, I feel like we are better than where we were when I started, but I've learned a lot of things, and my understanding about how things started and departments formed and that kind of thing, I feel a little more solid about that.
The 3 years is a good start for sure. You know, everybody starts somewhere like that. You're getting your feet planted in there, knowing how you got to tackle different situations, whatever that may be.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I mean, you talked about tradition and history. So have you ever heard the name Norvan Daniels, Mr. Daniels?
I've heard Mr. Daniels, but I don't know about Norvan. Ray Daniels was a former superintendent here.
Okay.
So who's Norvan?
Mr. Norvan Daniels is this guy, legacy at Harmon, J.C. Harmon High School, band director for many, many years.
Okay.
He kind of brought the whole, like, you heard the Battle of the Bands and all those, all that vibe of the bands, the competition.
Okay.
And kind of what the bands look like today.
Okay.
That started
You talking
with Mr.
like drumline stuff?
Man, he went to Southern University.
Doing all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I have heard his name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that man needs a statue out here because he influenced me. He was like, look, son. I mean, literally, he used to say this. Look, son, you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. I say that to people to this day, Dr. Stubblefield. I mean, like, I should put that somewhere on Enterrupt KC, but I won't do that.
Part of the problem, part of the solution.
So were you in the band?
I was.
Okay. What instrument?
Percussion.
Okay.
So I kind of played a gamut of everything. But anyway, back to you. So let's talk about, Dr. Stubblefield, your journey a little bit, right? So before you got to KCK, superintendent here at the school district, talk about where are you from exactly?
So where I'm from, like professionally or just in general?
Where was you born and raised? Let's go back.
That's way back.
That's not way back. Let's go back.
It's kind of way back. I was born in Kansas City, Missouri. Born and raised, grew up there, graduated from Northeast High School in Kansas City, Missouri. At that time, it was Kansas City, Missouri School District, but now it's Kansas City Public Schools. So my entire life lived in a few areas while I was growing up, primarily on the north side of town, like between 5th and 13th Street. Like when I was born, actually my address was 1321 Vine. I don't know why. I mean, I just remember
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, and then I
address.
lived off 5th and Tracy for several years, and later in high school, I actually lived in Grandview, but still went to school and finished my high school career in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
But I always like to highlight my connection to the DOT. I was not born or went to school in Wyandotte County, but have lots of family here. So always was connected to the DOT by like my adopted family. So probably I was introduced to Kansas City, Kansas. It was probably the late 80s, early 90s. So
was it known as the DOT back then?
I don't think it was.
I don't know, but now I just say the DOT. It was just Kansas City, Kansas.
Yeah.
But like now it's like 913, the DOT.
Yeah.
Say it louder.
816.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
See what we got going on
Say it
here,
louder.
right?
But I have allegiance to both 816 and 913. So there you go.
We do too. So
Okay.
Interrupt KC,
Yes.
Dr. Stubb, we got something in common.
So
for
yeah. So I born and raised in this area. Went to you have on a K. You had Rock Chalk. Graduated from the University of Kansas. Got my undergrad and master's degrees there, and ed specialist from UMKC and doctorate from St. Louis University. Primarily, actually, I've always just lived in the greater Kansas City area. Didn't move away.
You've been trapped inside the 435 walls your whole life?
I have.
Yeah, that's what I tell people.
I've visited other places, lots of other places, but I haven't lived at any other place. But career-wise, started my teaching career in the Center School District, which is right outside of Kansas City, Missouri. And then all of my teaching experience was there. Then went to Blue Valley. That's where I got my first administrative job, and I was an assistant principal there for 6 years. And then I was in Lawrence School District as a principal and over HR, assistant superintendent, deputy superintendent, 1 year as interim superintendent for 13 years before coming here, landing here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you're not just a professional, obviously. I know you talked about your professional come up, or you got a family and everything.
I do. I have lots and lots of family. My husband, David, we've been married. It'll be 24 years in November. We actually met in our first teaching jobs at Center High School.
Shout out David.
Shout out David Stubblefield, Dr. David Stubblefield. He actually is deputy superintendent in Shawnee Mission School District. So we both are still in education. We have 3 sons. The 2 oldest are my bonus sons. The oldest, like when I grew up, I want to live where he lives. He's a chiropractor in Hawaii. His wife he met in school, and she's from Hawaii, and they've been there since 2020. So we try to get back. We try to go visit him about once a year. And my middle son, he lives in the Memphis area. And he works there, and he, that's where he's at right now. And my youngest son is he's going into his sophomore year at University of Omaha, Nebraska. Okay. He plays basketball there, so we try to get up there as often as possible to his home games and things. Yeah. So. I'm blessed to have the 3 boys.
Yeah, 3 boys.
Well, they're 3 men now.
I imagine you always try to go to Hawaii a little bit more than them basketball games. Or
if I could, I would. We try to get there once a year. Once a year. But it is like life completely slow downs when it's. Yeah. It's a beautiful place.
I get it. What island is he on?
He's on Oahu. He's right outside of Honolulu. And
that's not the one that had that tragedy fire.
No, that's Maui.
Maui. That's right.
So he is not. But
still scary.
It is very scary. Right. Yeah. But I'm one of who grew up in my house. Like I grew up in 2 different households. So I have 7 siblings that I grew up with most of my life, and I'm number 7 of 8. And then in my adoptive family, I'm the oldest. I have 1 younger brother. So I have lots of siblings, lots of different family dynamics. Right. But so
big family.
Big family.
I mean, I had to say, you do not look old enough to have 3 grown men.
No chiropractor.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I have 3 men. Like the youngest is 19. Yeah. Like he's officially grown, but not really. He's not.
Yeah.
You carry your age well.
Oh, thank you.
Big family. So, is there anybody else in your family that's into education?
So, yes, one of my brothers. He was a teacher for several years, but now he actually has his own business that's called VIP, like a consulting motivational speaker, Violence I Prevent. And he works with lots of school districts and does different things, but he was a teacher. My adoptive mom is probably why I'm in education. She was my high school basketball coach. Okay. She was a teacher, and then several of her siblings. So lots of educators. I'm probably missing some people, but those are the ones who, if I'm missing you and you're listening to it, is not intentionally. But those are the ones who jump out to me initially. Yeah. Actually, and one of my other sisters is a preschool teacher. I just thought about that.
Well, there's a big family. I forget. I have to count on my hand every time somebody asks me about my siblings. I'm like, hold on, wait.
How many cousins you got?
You know,
we don't have that many. We don't have that much time tonight to talk.
Because I got a ton of cousins.
Oh man!
When I started here as the superintendent, I said, "Look, I got relatives in this district. Some I may remember they work here, some I don't. I'm just being transparent. Somebody say my cousin, they might be, but it does not impact how I lead or make decisions. But I got a lot of people related.
Dr. Stubblefield, I gotta tell you, listen, I got 2 boys myself, and when they come home and they're like, I'm dating this girl. First thing I ask, what's her name? Not the first name. What's the last name?
Yeah.
Because
Who's her mom
we
and dad?
got a lot of family around here.
Yeah.
We don't need no, we don't need no whoopsies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's talk about your passion for teaching. Clearly, you got a passion for teaching, right? And you developed that somewhere along the way. Do you remember the first time you were like, man, I think I want to teach. I want to be in education.
Yeah.
When I went to college, I was not planning to major in education. I had a space in my schedule, and I had a lot of teachers who had a positive influence in my life, and they were like, you should just take the intro to education class to see if you would be interested. And I took it, and I enrolled in the class, and from that first day, I was like, oh, this is what I really need to be doing. And so that's when I jumped into education. As a teacher, my major was like English and general science because I loved I loved to read, and then I just loved science. But my first job was I was a special education teacher.
I was going to ask you, like, were you a good student when you were coming up?
I was like the teacher's pet.
Were you really?
Sat in front,
I was one of those, and it may have been because I came from a big family, and I always had, like, you had to hold your own, but you also had always was trying to, like,
prove yourself,
be accepted. Like, when you're on the back end, you got to figure it out. And I learned early, like, one, I've always enjoyed learning and those kind of things. But when I entered school, I mean, this is funny and true. I knew all my numbers because my older sisters taught me how to play spades because they needed partners. So I had like some unconventional ways of learning. Just because I had older siblings, and I could read because I nosy or inquisitive. Like I was trying to be in their business. So school, and I recognize that is not the experience for a lot of people, but school was like kind of where I like thrived, and I had amazing elementary teachers. Yeah. Honestly,
what's the most books you ever collected in spades?
I don't know. I said I played. I didn't say I was a player.
I think I got some cards in my backpack over here, man. What was some spades going on?
I just want to. I'm a competent partner. I am not saying I'm like a player. Like, I'm not like, I can play. I can hold my own, but I don't know. Right. I don't know.
I think the most books I ever called was probably, I think, 9. And I think I got more than that for sure.
Yeah, I would say, like, I was always playing it safe. I would be like 4 or 5. So then I would upset my partners because they'll be like, I'm
and then she turn around and get 7. Be like,
yeah.
How many points we could have just had?
Oh, man. So, I ain't plays in a while.
So, coming in here, KCK School Superintendent, Dr. Stubblefield, you talked early on about, your career trajectory. Kind of, started off at Center, Blue Valley, right? Lawrence here. What are the lessons you learned that you feel like, man, that really prepared me, and maybe you're still learning some right now, prepared me for my role here at KCK. But before you got here, what would you say? Yeah,
you're right. I'm still learning now. But I think what is true, and when you think about those 4 districts, they're all very different. But as far as like makeup, size, demographics, and all of that. But what I find that is true and important in any education is just people just want to be seen, heard, and valued and listened to. So really, like, at the core of all of it is having authentic relationships with people, having, making space for people to show up as their authentic self, and just being open to the fact that, we all have stories and what we're going through, and or just how life has created us into whomever we are. And just being open to the fact that, our differences, we have more in common than not.
Right.
But just making people feel like they're seen, heard, and valued. And knowing and understanding that it doesn't matter how old a student is, they have thoughts, opinions, and passions, and trying to figure out what that is so that they can connect what we're trying to teach them to what their ultimate goals are. Yeah. But it holds true, like, no matter what community you're in, people just want to be seen, heard, valued, and respected,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I remember, when I was in high school, D-Rod, I just wanted to be seen and heard. And the teachers didn't like it. They were like, no, shut up and sit down.
Yeah.
We don't want to see you or hear. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
No.
They were really nice.
Yes.
But I will say, coming in here, Kansas City, Kansas School District. So for people watching this that have no idea, like, okay, we know where Kansas City, Kansas is, but the school district we know very little about. Can you share with us a little bit about the demographics? Like, what's the student population? How diverse is it? Things like that.
Excuse me. We have around 21,000 students. It fluctuates. Sometimes it's above, sometimes it's below. Our student demographic makeup, it's probably over 60% now, but it was, if not, about 60% of our students identify as Hispanic, about 24% as Black or African American.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, I should know this, but I think it may be about 10% white, and then the rest of different, like others. But we have over 60 different languages are spoken. 8,000 of our 21,000 students, English is not their first language. And when you think about that, 8,000 students is larger than Turner, is larger than Piper, is larger than Bonner. It probably is maybe larger than all three of those combined. Well,
you said that there's 21,000 students and 8,000 of them for in English. English is not their first. That's 30%. Easy.
Yeah,
over 30%.
Yeah, and that's larger than like DeSoto. And I don't think people. And we have over 60 languages, right?
Right.
So I don't think people really, like, when you sit back and think about that, and just the gift in learning, like, I wish I was bilingual or multilingual or spoke another language, and just the gift to be able to nuance between like two languages, the gift in being like that, to me is such a gift. And I wish when I was in high school or wherever that I would have learned a second language. But yeah, that's a third of our students.
Okay.
And so that's like the ethnicity and language. But over 80% of our students qualify for free and reduced lunch. So you intersect all of those elements. And then you just see the resilience and the giftedness in so many of our students every day that doesn't necessarily show up on a test score. But yeah.
I was going to tell you, Dr. Stubblefield, don't sell yourself short, because you are multilingual. You grew up. You went to Northeast High School.
Yeah,
you got it in you.
Grew up in the 816. Girl, we know all about that.
Yeah. I'm saying like fluent.
I know.
I can
You
hold a
talking
conversation.
about,
I probably like one or two, and then I'm gonna tell you, like, because I thought I knew everything in high school. I didn't think I knew everything, but I was like trying to be different. I took French, and yeah, I was. I mean, I took it for like, I was enrolled in it for like 2 or 3 years, but I didn't take it seriously. But I was like, I had opportunity and just squandered it away. I know like 2 words.
It's not too late. It's not too late. You can
I
get
know.
out there, man.
I know. I need to like do something.
You go down to Mexico for about a summer.
Okay.
Hang out down there for a little bit.
You'll come back fluent.
I'll come back fluent.
Oh,
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I remember this a little bit.
Yeah.
I know French fry, French toast.
Yeah.
That's about
French
That's
bacon.
about it.
Well, so let's talk about the schools. So you got 21,000 students basically, right? And you need to house these students. So let's talk about how many buildings do you have? How many schools, facilities?
So we have 5 high schools. I'm going to name them. Wyandotte, Harmon, Washington.
Wait, let's start over. We got to start with Harmon.
Washington,
Come on, man.
Sligo, and Sumner Academy.
Okay.
And then we have one alternative high school, Alfred Fairfax Academy. And then Bridges is a specialized schools for students with IEPs, and that service K through 12. And then we have 7 middle schools, 28 elementary, and then 4 early childhood centers. And then I forgot one other alternatives of schools. Camber. I was like, they changed the name. I almost called it Camber Academy. Yeah.
And then you're also responsible for the
JDs.
libraries, right?
Yeah,
and
we
libraries.
are. We are responsible for the public libraries in Kansas City, Kansas. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so like the one downtown in KCK?
Main library, FL Sligo, West Branch, and South Branch.
Man, I don't think I even knew
There's
that.
a lot. I mean, I got.
Yeah, we're the only school district in the country, the last one. There used to be one other one, but I don't think it exists anymore. We're the only one that's still responsible for the public libraries. And some people are like, why do y'all keep doing that? Well, it's the law. They would have to change legislation. That's not something our board, or that's not something that a superintendent like myself can just come and be like, oh, we don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
No, it's written into law. It would have to be changed.
My guess is, you got 21,000 students. How much staff do you have?
We have 4,000 staff.
Wow.
And about 4,000 staff, including like all of our administrators, teachers, and our classified staff, like, our bus drivers, the computer people. Like, it's about 4,000 of us, yeah.
Is there like a teacher-student ratio you're trying to meet, or you've met, or anything like that?
It varies from grade level to grade level. I mean, at grade levels, and also course offerings. So it varies. So I'm not even gonna I don't want to throw out no numbers, and somebody be like, that ain't right. My class is bigger than that.
Yeah.
But
right.
we do have ratios.
Man, let me call her up. I got 10 more than she just said.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I hear
it
you.
varies by the level.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. All right. Well, I guess, challenges, right? So I couldn't imagine, Dr. Stubblefield, that your role, your position doesn't come without its challenges. So, my guess is you probably knew about some coming in, and, just like, any leadership position, you come in, you evaluate, you see what's going on. Okay, here's my top challenges, right? Can you kind of talk about what your challenges are today as you see them?
Yeah, and challenges, we always like to try to reframe and say opportunities, but
right.
Challenges/opportunities. When I came into the district in 2021, it was like coming right off COVID, right? Kansas City, Kansas was the district who was the last district to go back in person. So they went back to school in person in March, and I came in like July. Not just Kansas City, Kansas public schools, but we all, since COVID, have been struggling, with the challenge of chronic absenteeism. That is like a nationwide challenge, like just getting students to come to school
Now,
regularly.
what is that for people who don't?
So chronic absenteeism, it means that you are missing more than 10% of the school year. So you're missing more than 12 days of school per year. So that is a challenge that we face.
Okay.
Us and every other district.
Is that every grade level you see it?
It varies. So when you see it at the elementary school, it you know, it's more
some type of red flag will be thrown
well,
up, right?
well, and then you know, like elementary students typically don't get themselves back and forth, but we do see it at all levels, just at different degrees. The high school, when you look at the percentages, more like a lot more than most elementary schools, so that's a challenge. But school funding and finances and really, you know, making salaries competitive for like staff, just given the way that schools are funded is a challenge, and making sure like we have engaging curriculum and we're adapting to how, you know, students learn they can find anything on TikTok, right? And then with AI, they can it's just all of these things. And so like making learning meaningful and engaging and so that kids are connected. Those are some challenges. But a real challenge we also have is around our facilities. Last spring, I think, you may have been aware there was a bond issue put forward. That's the only way that schools can be built and funded and around facilities. Right. But given the age of so many of our buildings and just given the economic makeup of our community and like taxes and things like that's a tough issue and that's a challenge. But the reality of it is, we do have like schools that are over 100. Harmon only has one gym. Sligo only has one gym. And we are competing and wanting to make sure that our students experience in the facilities, in the classroom, and all of the things like that they feel valued and seen. And unfortunately, we do have like facilities where we still have mobiles, like kids have to go outside and all of the weather conditions. So those are some of the big challenges. How we are trying to tackle those, specifically on the academic side and with the chronic absenteeism and the engaging curriculum and stuff. When I came, we really were intentional about building on our Diploma Plus program. And it's not a program, it's like the way that we do things to ensure that when kids leave school, that they not just have a diploma, but they have something else to make them employable, prepare them for college or prepare them for the career.
So it's kind of like a philosophy.
Right. But it also has a tangible thing with it. So like a credential, like they may be a CNA or have there are some endorsements from being a mechanic, or they've enlisted in the military, or they have college hours, or they have a 21 or higher on their ACT and ready to go to college. Just really being intentional about that. And we have a goal of by 2031, 100% of our students will graduate with a Diploma Plus. And this year it was 77%, which was better than last year, which was 65%, which was better than the previous year, which was 49%. So we are trending in the right direction. But like I said a lot, but those are our challenges and how we're navigating.
One of the things though that, you know, even for me, Dr. Stubblefield, and I do my best to try to pay attention to this conversation as I've gotten older and my kids putting them through school is the funding. I think that is one thing a lot of people really don't understand. You know, so can you just at a very high level give us some, you know, outlay of, you know, how is KCK schools funded? Yeah,
primarily, so their schools in the state of Kansas are funded. There's a formula. It's complex. And basically for every student enrolled, we get a certain amount of money from the state. And that's like one level. And then a few years ago, there was a lawsuit. It's called the Gannon case, and KCK was central, like to make it equitable. If you have like certain at-risk factors, which includes like poverty and some other things, you get some additional funds to address some of those different challenges that you face. And that's like what's the general funds. And then we get capital outlay, and that is like based off of mills or how taxes are funding. And the max that you can have for capital outlay is 8 mills.
Okay.
And the amount of the mills is based off of different counties, like assessed values and those kind of things. So for that, and that's mainly for facilities and upkeep and maintenance and stuff like that, that's about $8 million a year from capital outlay. And then we get like title dollars, federal dollars, and that is also based off of things like level of poverty, number of students who English may not be their first language, and some other things. So then you get that bucket of money. So those are like the 3 big ones that make up our budget, but you can always apply for grants and things. And all of those monies have specific ways that you can spend it. Like I can't spend the federal dollars on facilities. Right. And I can't spend the capital dollars on paying teachers. Right. So you have to move all. That's the like general high
fund.
level.
The general fund probably pays for quite a bit of your
and
operation.
85% of our budget. We have over a $400 million budget, but 85% of it is like for staff salaries and benefits and those kind of things, and that's the norm in any district. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I wanted to kind of have you talking on that, and that's why I asked that, because you know you hit on it, right? The bond measure that was put out there back in May, it got voted down, and you know I paid attention to a little bit of the conversation because we were anticipating talking to you, and I was like, man, you know, let's try to understand what are people saying, and right away you can see people are feeling like, well, they have the money to do this already. Why can't they just pay for this? You know, why did this happen in the first place? You know, things like that. And I don't know, maybe you can, you know, kind of shed some light on that after the fact.
Yeah. And honestly, real quickly, because actually we had a special board meeting today, which is July 31st. We had a special board meeting, and we have a survey out in the community. Okay. It'll be out until Friday, August 9th at 5 p.m., asking the community, would they support a bond, one with the no tax, no mill levy increase, like whatever you're paying in taxes, that's what you would pay. And then one asking about, one is that one is 180 million, and the other one is 260 million. So this conversation has started up again. Excellent. And the board is exploring whether they will bring another bond to the ballot. That is less than the 420 million that was there in April. And the thing that I try to explain to people is that, so to build a new elementary school, it is $31 million. We get $8 million a year for facilities and capital outlay. Right. So you can't. And
that's just one facility.
That's just one facility. And so when you think about that $8 million, it's just like the upkeep of your home. Like you just, we just talked about, we have 28 elementary, 7 middle schools, 5 high schools, not counting like the other facilities. So you got to make sure, like, you got to pay your utilities, and then just the natural things like replacing roofs, replacing like the natural wear and tear. So that's how and it's not like our maintenance department and our facilities don't take care of our facilities. The schools that we were talking about, 2 of them are over, maybe more than 2. Several of them were over 100 years old. Wow. Our youngest high school is 50 years old. And in the 2016 bond, we did build new facilities, but the reality of it is, just like cars and like so many things, eventually you got to replace them. So the schools we were talking about, Central, Argentine, New Stanley, and
Right.
I may forget. So they're over 100 years old.
Is Harmon the 50-year-old school?
Harmon and Sligo are both. Well, they'll be 51 this year. They were
Wow.
50 last year.
D-Rod, my baby turning 51. Man, what am I do?
Well,
Dang.
you don't want me to say anything about that because we went there just, I don't know, a month ago or so. And the age is wearing on it, man.
They had some challenges in there.
Yeah.
Well, so you guys you've released a survey, right? You said you've released a survey to kind of re-engage the community, see what their appetite is for. Hey, this is important work. We need to have this done. What are you thinking? You thinking the community is supportive, but they just don't want to do that much money? I mean, what do you feel?
Preliminary from the survey, and since I have the space, preliminary from the survey, right now it looks like of those, and we have over 2,000, it may be around 2,300 people who opened the survey and looked at it and answered, if not all, majority of the questions. About 59% was like, yep, we would support a bond for $180 million with no additional taxes or increase in the mill levy. Like what I'm paying in taxes, because we all, have to pay taxes. I'm good with that. For the second question on that survey, as of today, it was about, I think, don't quote me, I think 45% said they would support the one for additional taxes.
Okay.
So the survey is still out there. We actually haven't advertised it, but by the time we'll have a community meeting next Thursday in case people, like if technology is a challenge and they just want to come and share it. So we'll be, it'll be next Thursday here at district office to give people additional information. We'll take all that information back to the board on Tuesday the 13th for them to see where the community is.
Okay. And
if they will choose to move forward with it because, to see if we can chip away at it. The reality and the challenge of it is in 2016, to build an elementary school was $17 million. And today in 2024. Yeah. So prices keep going up. So it's this delicate balance of, trying to figure it out, respecting where people are. Like if people can't afford it, they can't afford it. I get that. But it's just that delicate balance. Like it costs more.
But eventually, right, that deferred maintenance, it catches up. I mean, it doesn't matter just in your own life. If my glasses are falling apart and I know they are, one day they're just not going to work for me.
Right.
So I got to go spend the money and go get me a new pair of glasses, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's a delicate, challenging situation.
Yeah,
Appreciate
which
you.
is why we, really try to get the information out and also answer questions so that people can make an informed decision around.
And that's pretty much kind of why we're even doing this too here, because our audience are very people in the community that go with us, So
I did see, talking about Harmon, I just made a quick note to myself. Harmon alone needs over $6 million worth of work to it, and I thought that was I was like, wow, for a school, and it didn't shock me. I guess I wasn't saying wow because I was shocked. I was saying wow because to me it's one of those things that you can look up this information and find it. And you guys really did a great job of kind of detailing out exactly what needs to be done at each facility. So I really appreciated that level of transparency that you guys did. One other thing that I wanted to ask you about, Dr. Stubblefield, is my guess is you guys the school district works pretty closely with the city or the county, Wyandotte County, on these types of things, because the county is also talking about property taxes and taxes in general, right? And then, the school district. And so people hear all these things going on. And ultimately what people probably hear is, well, damn, I'm just going to end up paying a whole bunch more money.
Right. And one of the things that I'm glad that you asked that question that I do want to clarify is that the school district and not that we work closely, but the taxes are driven by the assessed evaluation of like taxable things from your home to your business or whatever. The school district has limited ways to like go and ask the community if we can do X. So that's why it's voted upon. Even if it's a no tax increase, the community has to vote on it. But we have no control over like how things are assessed, or it's just a reality. Right. And because of the formula from like the state around how schools are funded based off of certain mill levies, we are the recipients of what is ever happening in the community. So our Board of Education, when it comes to that kind of things, like we have caps like on the mill levies and those kind of things, but it's not like we don't have any control over it, and not any influence over it. And therefore, that's why we have to come with bond initiatives for facilities, just like the community in regards to like whatever the state funding formula is and what we get per pupil. It's not influenced by like what's happening in the city or that kind of thing. We do communicate so that we can try to educate people around that, because when you look at our budget, it sounds like like our entire budget is like a little over $400 million. When the bond projects for last year that was on the original ballot was $420 million. So that just puts things in perspective. Like we could shut down the district and still couldn't pay for all of those things that was in that bond initiative. And that doesn't even include, like there were lots of things people were like, well, what about this and what about that? And so just really trying to get people to understand the magnitude of like navigating that and making sure that we are providing safe environments for our students. Being clear about our focus is always academics, and it's not an or. It is like, that's why we make the decisions that we make, and we can be focused on academics while at the same time like really trying to improve the physical and facility experience for our students as well. Yeah.
That's excellent. Are you familiar with the Raytown School District?
I'm very familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I spent a little time in Raytown.
Okay.
In my professional life, and those people care about them schools. Holy moly. Like they issue bond after bond. I mean, man. And I mean, you go out there and see them facilities and the sports fields and the track. I was like, whoa. Crazy. But man, when it came to like, hey, let's fix this sidewalk, or it was different. You know what I mean? Like it's just just kind of shows you that, back to the whole, like working with the city or the county here, and then, what the school district's trying to do, getting people to understand, like, it's all an investment. And truthfully speaking, it's not an investment for us per se. It's an investment for the future people who are going to be here, and the students, obviously. So
yeah. And that, I mean, if you just explore districts all around us, both on the Missouri and the Kansas side, that is common practice. And I'm not saying right or wrong, but that's the vehicle in which school districts have to improve their facilities. Is through bond initiatives.
Do you think that, like, what people are also looking for is improved academics or test scores? Yeah,
that came out loud and clear.
Okay.
From the two things was around, if you think about, if you were saying those who opposed it or weren't necessarily supportive, we heard about the academics. We also heard about, like, the burden of the taxes on the taxpayers in Wyandotte County.
Right.
And with the academics, what I will say is we're absolutely focused on academics. I can provide data to show like improvement that has been made the last 2-3 years. We're not where we want to be, but we are absolutely. That's why we exist. We're an academic institution. And you can be focused on academics while improving the facilities. when you look at the long-term research, students who are in actually more up-to-date facilities tend to outperform students who are not. I'm not saying like that's a magic thing, because we have brand new facilities that opened in 2020 from the 2016 bond. Shout out to the community for passing that bond. But the experience is very different.
Gotcha.
When you walk into like Gloria Willis or Carl B. Bruce, compared to a Central or an Argentine, it's a very different experience.
Sure. Well, I mean, even if you put that in our own real life experiences right now, right? So, Dr. Stubblefield, if you were to walk into a restaurant and it's like holes in the ceiling, the carpet's tore up, wall paint is falling off the wall, whatever, the lights aren't working right. You're automatically feeling some type of way, right?
Right.
Versus you walk into my restaurant, Enterrupt KC tacos, and everything's perfect. Right. D-Rod's back there whipping them up. We're smiling. We're happy. AC's
D-Rod's gonna be behind the bar making some drinks.
D-Rod's behind the bar making drinks. Everything's right in the world, right? Like your emotion is changed completely, right? Yeah. I mean, that's just a real common, I think, kind of common sense, reality that we have. Yeah. We don't even know it.
No. And I agree with that. And what I often try to say is, if you don't support it, I get it for whatever reasons. Like, I respect it for whatever reason, but we don't have to create the enemy of focus on the schools, on the academics, before you talk to me about a bond. Like, we have to do both, because that's the reality that we're facing.
Yeah. And I did make note of a couple things, and this is off on your website, I think, which takes you to the state's test scores website. So the state breaks them down into 3 levels, 1, 2, or 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. And level 1 is limited ability to understand. 2 is basic ability. 3 is effective ability, and 4 is excellent ability. And the district has, from level 1 to 4, 1 has shrunk, 2 has shrunk, 3 has increased, and 4 has increased. So it's kind of like you've seen what people are wanting is actually happening, right? The academics, the test scoring, it's improving. These percentages, but it doesn't matter. It's improving, and that's kind of how I interpreted this information.
Right. Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And that is one piece of data to evaluate how our students are doing. But we are moving in the right direction. One of the things when the current CAP test was, because that's what you were looking at, when it was developed. I think what people often lose in this is they see the 1, 2, 3, 4s, but it is really predicting like college readiness. And when I say to people, if you're in a level 4, is basically saying that you will get, I believe, a 28 or higher on your ACT. I may be wrong. It may be a 30 on your ACT. And I'm like, I didn't get a 30 on my ACT, so I would not have been a 4 for sure.
Boy, you don't want to know what I got. Is there negatives in here somewhere?
No, and so it was really based off of like, where people would fall on their ACT. And like in the big scheme of things, like I understand the basics, but high 2s, you're going to be okay, right? Like ideally we want to shrink the number of students who are in level 1s and low 2s, but realistically, most of us, I don't know who's listening, and maybe the people listening did have 30s on their ACTs. I did not.
There's
but I know a
listening.
lot of successful people who, like, they have a pretty decent life that did not score 30 on their ACT. And I'm not trying to diminish it. If all of our students, if that's the reality for them, that's the reality. But I also don't want to like reduce our students to just a test score.
Absolutely.
We want them to leave our schools prepared to do and become whatever they want. Like if they want to have their own podcast.
Let's
and
go
on vacation.
Let's
Come on
go.
with it, come
And
on
have
with it.
Enterrupt KC Taco that
That's
they have.
Drinks.
Okay. Drinks. That they have the skill set to be able to do that and do it well. And that's our goal, for them to be able to, whatever lives they dream up for themselves that can make them like self-sufficient and get off their parents' payroll, like my son eventually will.
Let's go.
That's what we want for them, like for them to be able to have those
I
critical
love it.
thinking, problem-solving skills because we're preparing them for jobs we know nothing about. Like, I didn't know about no podcast when y'all was in high school, but y'all were able to, y'all doing it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, you know what I was gonna say, D-Rob,
What's
real
that?
quick, man.
What's that?
Just
What's
because
that?
her, like that whole thing you spelled out of your mission and vision for students is so well, beautifully articulated. You know what that is, D-Rod?
What's that?
That's a salute,
That's
man.
a salute,
We
man.
gotta give Dr. Stubblefield
Man,
a
we gotta give her a salute, man,
on behalf
to
of
that.
Enterrupt KC.
Oh, thank you.
Salute to that,
Appreciate
man.
that.
Thank
We
you.
normally have adult beverages, but we here at the Kansas City, Kansas School District building, we ain't gonna do that here.
We are drinking water.
We drinking water.
Water.
Water, little H2O.
Go ahead, D-Rod.
Yeah, no.
I
What I was going to bring up also was that we were talking about children and getting what they want to do in life. We earlier this year we talked to a couple of teenagers, and they said ultimately that the pressures that they've had within school is from their educators of them trying to figure out or pressuring them to know what they want to do.
Right.
So they're like, we don't really know just yet, but then they keep on pushing us, right? And so, I mean, that was a kind of interesting conversation.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
is great feedback.
Yeah.
Because I do think I get it. I see it because when you think about, like, we have all these pathways in the high school and you need to pick this pathway or that pathway. But I think that's very good feedback.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we probably need to do a better job of is articulating. We're not saying you have to do this, but we want to provide you these experiences so you'll know like what you might like or what you don't like. A story I often share is all through high school, I thought I was going to be a broadcast journalist, right? Like I was going to be on the news,
Look at you now.
interviewing
KC.
people. I went to a camp the summer before my senior year, and they dropped me off. They dropped us off. It was a group of us in East St. Louis, Missouri.
I was there recently.
And said, go find a story.
No way.
I said, okay, this is not for me. But had I not had that experience, I probably would have went to college and majored in broadcast journalism and got to my first job and after all that time discovered this is not for me. Yeah. So a part of that experience, and we need to do a better job for our students, is say, we want you to try things and discover, like, you may fall in love or you may be like, yeah, I'm out. I need to do something else.
Well, that's even a problem with even adults, let alone children. There's so many adults that go to, to universities and, I mean, we all know it. We all know it. Yeah.
So one of the things, and as you probably can imagine, I actually live in Wyandotte County, KCK, Rosedale, shout out. I was talking to a handful of people saying, hey, we're going to have Dr. Stubblefield on the podcast, and they're like, ask her about special ed, education. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on with that? So I did a little research, like what's going on, So I guess, if you don't mind talking about, some of the things I read, Dr. Stubblefield, were in and around relationships and for special education, the professionals, down there, working for the school district. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit and the work that's being done there?
Yeah. So, that is in our special education department. We have from teachers to administrators to like all of the staff that makes it up. We have some amazing individuals, but we also have some challenges around navigating some things. So where we are right now is we recently did an audit and we got some recommendations from the audit about, how we can get better and how we can build off whatever those areas that we're doing well. So right now we have a group that is made up of primarily teachers and some district administrators. I actually have been attending the meetings here, and I will on the front end and then back out of it. And we are working with the University of Kansas, one of their departments and some special ed leaders there to navigate through some of those challenges or opportunities to build back trust and build up relationships. So we're very intentional about that this year to make sure that we all have a common understanding of what we have to do as a district, and then how do we go about doing those things where everyone from the teachers to the administrators feel like they are a part of like what you said earlier. If you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. So that's what we are navigating through right now. But and I've been to 3 meetings, and I'm very hopeful. Because I think just listening to one another and identifying the priorities around solving things, I think people are genuinely showing up and putting in the effort. But what I will say, across the nation, there is a shortage of special education. There's a shortage of teachers, first of all. And there's specifically more shortage in the areas of like special education, nursing, and those kind of things. And anytime you have those kind of shortages and you create additional stress to a situation, it makes the challenges even greater. But we have a plan moving forward. And if you talk to me in a year from now, I would be like, yep, it's not perfect, but we have made so much progress.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves with what's been going on the past couple of years under your leadership, right? I mean, the numbers been going up and up, and it seems like that's going to be no exception to the rule.
So we are navigating through that. So thank you for asking. But there is a team primarily made up of teachers and the KNEA that's working with administration to just for us to get better.
You know what I think, Dr. Stubblefield, just my personal opinion on this. I mean, the fact that you've spent time and resources into understanding this problem speaks to your sincerity on it, right? Like you really want to figure this out for people. So really, really glad that you chimed in on that a little bit. All right. Goals for the upcoming year. We have a brand new school year right here upon us.
We do.
Shortly after this episode is aired. Talk about that. What are the goals? What we got?
Every year, like our theme this year is better every day in every way. Last year was just better every day. And this year we are really focusing on being better every day in every way. And fundamentally, like we always have our Diploma Plus, our North Star, which is 100% of our students to graduate with a Diploma Plus, while exceeding or meeting the state graduation average. We improved our graduation rate last year, I believe, by 3%. And we had 77% of our students to graduate with a Diploma Plus. Our goal initially, when you looked at our trajectory for next year, would have been 75%. So we're going to adjust that because we've already exceeded the goal.
Nice.
Our goal will always be we want to, my goal is always as students are leaving first grade, that they are independent readers, because we know that changes their trajectory and their school experience. So we this year are taking some additional steps to make sure that students are leaving. And we started, 3 years ago by training all of our elementary and other teachers in letters, which is really focused on the science of reading and incorporating phonics to make sure the students know how to read and can read independently when they leave first grade. Our goal is always to reduce the chronic absenteeism, to reduce the number of students in the level 1. But as we think about like the mental health for our students, is to make sure that we're continually to provide those supports. For our students, we have counselors and social workers in all of our schools. But, when you hear students talking about the pressure of having to make decisions around or be stuff, like we got to be cognitive and listen to them and listen not with judgment, but listen to, and then ask them, what can we do differently?
Yeah, for sure.
So we have lots of goals. Those are some of the bigger ones, the more generic ones. But one of the ones that our board with their academic committee and our welcome center, which is right here, is we want to engage more families and caregivers to know and understand what we can do better, so that when our students are showing up, that they feel supported, that our families feel like they are connected and can celebrate with us, or also let us know, like, hey, you dropped the ball over here,
Right.
Yeah.
and give us an opportunity to make it right.
Right.
Because we will, we always strive to do
Sure.
Yeah.
what is right and best, but it happens sometimes. So establish those relationships where we feel like we're in partnership with one another.
For sure.
What was the motto again for this year?
Better every day in every way.
Better every day in every way.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it, man. So I had to ask you this question because this was just announced, actually. Dr. Franco as J.C. Harmon principal, the new principal there?
Yes.
I actually met him a couple months ago, I think, on something different. But can you talk about, like, what you make those decisions, I'm assuming, or who
I don't
makes
make them in a vacuum.
Okay.
There is a committee that, like, first of all, anytime we have a principal open, a survey goes out to the community asking them what they are looking for in that principal, that whatever attendance area that is. So we take those things, we advertise the position, and when the team, and it's a team made up of a variety of district leaders who do the interviews, and then they send the finalists to me. Like, I meet with the finalists, and then we make a final recommendation. But Dr. Franco has been an assistant principal at J.C. Harmon, I think, for 2 years now.
Okay.
We're excited about him leading the school. He, what we heard from the community, staff, students, and families and caregivers is that they wanted stability. They felt like the last 3 years Harmon has been moving in the right direction, and he was an integral part of that.
Nice.
So he has stepped right up, and we're excited about what he's going to continue to build and do with the Harmon community. And they were excited about him. Like, when we went back and look at the survey, like, his name was actually mentioned.
Nice.
We want, Dr. Franco.
Yeah.
Well,
that's excellent. Shout out Dr. Franco.
Shout out to him.
I'm glad. I'm glad to see that. He seems like an excellent person when I met him.
Yeah.
All right. Some fun questions.
Okay.
As we wind down here a little bit. Teacher that made the most significant impact on you growing up?
So there are two. My third grade teacher, Miss Lassiter.
Did you sit right next to her in the classroom? Don't lie.
I was a teacher's pet. First, like, kindergarten, not so much, but first, second, third, for sure. Fourth.
You remember their teachers? You remember their names?
I remember first through sixth grade. Yes. All of their names. So Ms. Lassiter, because she was the first person ever to tell me that I definitely could go to college and have it paid for. Like, college was not on my radar. And then my high school basketball coach, who eventually adopted me, just because, she would always tell me that, don't set limits, set goals for yourself. And she just spoke into me in like things I didn't necessarily see in myself. So the two of them had the biggest impact. But I'll tell you another fun fact. If your other questions are not related to school, I often share, although it's a teacher's pet, first through third grade, and I'm an overachiever, I did get suspended once in school.
I was gonna ask that question. How much time did you spend in ISS or OSS? Well, go ahead.
No time in ISS. I was suspended from school for 3 days for fighting in the sixth grade.
What was the boy's name? Don't lie.
His name was Michael. It was a boy.
I knew it.
No, I was defending Michael, the boy that I fought. And honestly, I saw him like about maybe 10 years ago. His name was John Henry Hunter. He won't care about me saying his name because he, at that time, was telling people that he had a fight with a girl and he lost. And I was defending my friend Michael because John was bullying Michael. And I don't know why I thought it was my responsibility to take. But
Well, that's a
John
good
and
friend.
I got suspended for 3 days. Yeah.
Did you knock Michael out?
No, I was defending Michael.
Oh, wait.
I didn't
Sorry,
knock John out, but I
bruised him up, huh?
I bruised him up. Like, I remember I had 7 older siblings, 3 big boys.
Yeah,
so
you said you had to hold your own. You were
I had to hold my own.
You're like,
I don't condone violence. I'm just being honest, about.
Youth, our youth.
You live and learn.
favorite lunch item growing up in school.
At school, it was the chili and the cinnamon rolls. I don't even eat cinnamon rolls anymore, but that combination.
No cinnamon rolls.
I don't.
Corner Cafe cinnamon rolls.
If it's there, but I don't I don't really eat them. But that was my favorite lunch. I don't know. That combination
It's
was
crazy, right? Like, who put that together?
I don't know, but it was a good one.
Genius.
You talked about playing basketball, so you're pretty athletic. Are you still?
I still work
She's like, boy, you want this triple double? We go outside right now.
Not right now.
No, I loved basketball and I ran track in high school. I actually I ran the hurdles and coached basketball and track when I first started teaching. I'll say this quickly, but I had set my high school record in the 100 hurdles and 300 hurdles, and was coaching track and watched my 300 hurdle record get broken by a student, but it was fun to watch. I wasn't coaching at that school. I was at another school and
cheering them on.
And my former coach came over and was like, she just broke your record. I was like, that's pretty awesome. But no, I am athletic. I am. I always say my son who plays basketball, he was a really, really good basketball, and football player. And my husband actually played football in college. And I always tell people he gets all of his athletic abilities
of course.
from
we all
his
do.
mother.
That's right.
And so, right now I don't do like that kind of. I do some hot yoga. I love hot yoga. I don't like regular yoga, but I do love hot yoga.
Okay.
And
you stay active.
I try to stay active.
Right,
She don't eat cinnamon rolls, man. You know she
But
takes
that's
care of
not
herself.
what
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
I just kind of quit.
Well, listen, if you're ever looking you ever wake up and you're like, you know what? I need a cinnamon roll today.
Okay.
Farmhouse down the River Market.
Yeah.
Go see our boy Vince Paredes, Chef Vince Paredes,
Shout
who
out
runs
Vince,
that place.
man. We had him on here.
Farmhouse. Okay.
Farmhouse.
Now
right by
I'll
the city
eat them
market.
if I have, but I don't buy them. and
Well,
stuff.
okay, so
Yeah.
a little deal about Farmhouse. It's farm to table. So he does
okay.
all local.
We got to go there.
He does all local
Okay.
farmers. Everything he
Okay.
makes is right from scratch.
He's
it's
open
just
every day?
all- Wednesday through Sunday.
Thursday, Sunday just got voted again, multiple years in a row, number one brunch in Kansas City.
Number one brunch, the Farmhouse.
Thursday through the Farmhouse. I'm
Yeah, the
writing
Farmhouse,
it down.
man.
Writing it
Yeah,
down.
it's right by the city
Write it
market
down.
block off.
Oh my God, for
Okay.
brunch, he's been voted number one for
So
brunch.
it's probably a wait. You got to
Oh, you got to make reservations.
Okay, the Farmhouse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Leave room for that cinnamon roll.
Listen,
I will.
If y'all
Now, I'll eat it.
really want to go, Edwin, just shoot me an email. I'm gonna text Vince. Hey,
Yeah.
table of 2 this time and day. Y'all, we'll make it happen. Promise.
Okay.
For sure,
Okay.
for sure.
Edwin like to eat.
Edwin, give me that cinnamon roll. You know, I ain't got no problem with that.
Yeah, I haven't had a bad meal there.
All right.
Okay,
So
I'm there.
is there a House bill people should pay attention to that you're aware of? People like just the public, general public should pay attention to a House bill that could impact Kansas City, Kansas Public School District.
I think people should pay attention. And I don't have any numbers off the top because the session is closed,
Yeah.
but there are lots of bills that have come and gone that will impact education, that could impact education. So just pay attention to to anything education wise, but be tuned in to what is happening. at the local and the state level.
Okay.
I think people do need to pay attention and ask questions and reach out to your representatives and get clarity. Like, do your research and do your homework around that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Perfect. All right. So, D-Rod, we have this thing.
Oh, yeah, we
you
got
want
this
to interrupt KC, people, places, and things. We're going to have a little fun with Dr. Stubblefield.
Okay.
So, people, places, and things, interrupt KC, that's what we're about, Dr. Stubblefield. So, we have a this or that going on.
A little verses.
You pick, right? We're going to
Okay.
give you two things. You're going to pick. And when you pick, you got to give us kind of a reason or a story why you picked that one, okay? So I'm going to let D-Rod go first.
Oh, you going to let me start? Okay. Let me do, I'm going to start with people, okay? KC people, you pick verses, all right? I don't know. Let's go with, let's do some news people, all right? See who we watch, all right?
Okay.
Since it's weather, right? We're going to do Brian Busby versus Joe Lauria.
Brian Busby.
Brian Busby, man. He's a GOAT, man.
He's a GOAT, and
man.
he's been around a long time. Yeah.
You know, I think he's always pretty accurate, too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Weathermen, they kind of get
Weatherman?
paid for being wrong, don't they?
It's always wrong what they say, but Brian Busby's kind of on point. I shout out Brian Busby, man.
Shout
I'm
out
Brian
Busby.
Busby, too.
We talked about food, okay? So the peanut or Tanner's?
Oh, dang. So the peanut, I like their wings better. I think Tanner's has more of a variety. But if we're talking wings, I'm going to the peanut.
I mean, just general.
Okay.
Just general.
Yeah, I'm probably going to take the peanut wing. I love wings. So I will probably pick wings.
That's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. Wings it is.
Food, man. I got to stick with food,
You
too.
get them dipped in sauce and everything?
We'll get him on it, too.
I prefer a dry wing, dry rub.
Dry rub?
See, we could go eat lunch, you and I, because
Yeah.
that's me all day. I'm like, just give me the sauce on the side.
Yeah.
Let me do that myself.
Yes, let me do that myself.
Depending on the sauce, man. I do shots of the sauce if I need to. Just kidding. All right, I'm doing another place. All right, Garozzo's versus Casconi's. Italian food.
Garozzo's. Yeah.
Right. Chicken spadini.
Yeah. I like the chicken. So here, I love Italian food, but I don't like a lot of actual pasta. It's
Pastas?
bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I
mean, there's a lot of other things Italian to eat.
Yeah, chicken spadini, man.
Yeah, I don't want to describe the dish I ate in Florida, but it was incredible. And I didn't eat hardly any of the pasta. All right. We like chicken wings, so I'm going to ask you this one. Stroud's or Go Chicken Go?
Go Chicken Go all day.
Let's go.
Sauce, man.
Gizzards? We on them gizzards?
I like gizzards. I get gizzards and wing pack.
Wing pack. Yes, ma'am.
Gizzards and the wing pack?
Gizzard and a wing pack.
Shit, Edwin, we all just need to go eat lunch, man. Can we
for
schedule
real.
that, man?
Hey, look, I
Like,
didn't eat dinner. I came right
Man,
here after work.
let's go.
We're going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do a KC thing. How about, maybe this is a place. I'm sorry. No, we'll do it. All right. Midland Theater versus Uptown Theater.
Midland. I think just because I've been to more events there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Midland. I like it.
Man.
What about the West Bottoms or the Crossroads?
Man. I would say the West Bottoms just because growing up, I had like family over there and had connections over there. Crossroads I'm familiar with, like I've been down there, but I don't, I've been down there, but I have more memories like connected with the West Bottoms.
West Bottoms got a lot of memory for a lot of people in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I got another crazy one, and I like asking this because I hear all kinds of different reactions, right? KC winter versus KC summer. Ooh. Yeah, today, yesterday, I mean, come on.
And
She's
so
like,
I'm
hot as
thinking
hell.
about
You
the
wanna-
extremes. But I'm picking summer. because
It's about to be 110 tomorrow. Don't do this. to us.
I understand, but like when the winter is bad, you're just trapped. Like in the summer, like you can choose to go out or you can choose to stay in. Winter, you don't have no choice.
That's facts.
And I was born in like December. Yeah. That's why fall is my favorite season.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Say
mine
it
too.
louder.
Mine too.
Man.
Mine too.
All right, gotta ask you a barbecue one. All right, so we over here in KCK, so I'm gonna stick with some KCK barbecue. Let's go with Slaps barbecue or Rosedale barbecue.
So I'm gonna go with Slaps, but I don't care for barbecue sauce at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean not at all. I don't like sweet
The
barbecue
dry,
sauce.
you like the dry.
Who
dry
has the
rub.
best barbecue sauce to you then?
Okay,
I mean, go
I'm
ahead.
just gonna say,
Hurt them feelings.
Hurt them feelings. I love the original Gates and the spicy Jack Stack. Those two run neck and neck for me.
Yeah, the original Gates.
But I want it on the side. I want to control the quantity.
Oh yeah. Have you ever had that? What's that place called over here by Harmon? Half on that hill. What's that? What's it called? That barbecue place by the Half a Hill bar.
Oh, the Big Q.
The Big Q.
I haven't had that.
Oh, Dr. Stubblefield.
Is it
Edwin,
good?
you got to take her
Big
to
Q.
the Big
You ever
Q.
been there?
It's by Harmon.
I have not been there.
It's over. It's right at the edge of Turner and
That
Argentina.
was, and the reason I thought about that is because you said can't keep it Kansas.
Man,
You know
they
Big Q.
are legit.
The Big Q. Okay, Edwin writing it all down. He got all of them down.
I got the dry rub ribs there since you don't like sauce too much.
Oh, okay, and they're
ribs, yeah.
The
fire.
Big Q
Yeah.
tribe. Okay.
Go ahead, D-Rod. One more.
Oh, okay. Let's do one more. Let me see. Let's go with KC Places. How about Country Club? No, I ain't doing that. Loose Park versus Swope Park.
Ooh.
I honestly Swope Park because I just have more memories, connections, navigation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
People didn't want us
Swope.
going to Loose Park forever. Like, nah, this ain't. It's Plaza. You don't come over
Plaza,
here.
yeah.
I hear you. All right. Well, thank you for having fun with us on that.
Thank you.
The last fun question that we have for you. Tell us you're from KC without telling us you're from KC.
Oh man. Oh. So yeah. I'm trying not to use like examples that y'all use, but it's probably like not one of the references because like Swope Park when you had the car shows and that.
I was in one.
Sunday.
Yeah, oh, you were in those, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, some only Kansas City people will understand. You born and raised, so the
I know.
bar's high.
The bar is high, and I am failing.
Everyone go.
He about to help
But
you out.
there's a communication guy. Let me help you out.
Oh, but two-step could be Chicago, like two-stepping in Kansas
two-step in
City. He had
Chi-Town.
two-stepping.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this? The Cobras, because they just had the big
Marching
the
Cobras.
marching Cobras
Yeah.
and all of the when they used to have all of the parades and stuff and
yeah.
all the other drill teams. Yeah,
That is a Kansas City.
that is
great.
The marching Cobras.
That's a good one.
I played baseball for RBI League and KCMO, and we practiced at Parade Park.
Oh,
and guess
I
who-
could have said Parade Park.
Man, the original Parade Park.
The original
and,
Parade
and
Park.
guess who was marching around that damn stadium practicing
The Cobras. Yes,
and for
yeah.
somebody who's playing percussion, it was really hard for me to stay focused on the ground ball while people were over here marching. So I love it.
You know what's going on down there this weekend?
No, I don't.
The hot dog festival.
I love
we had
all beef hot dog. Like that's in my top 5
We had
food.
Bob Kendrick, the Negro League's on. We had Bob Kendrick on here, and he's hosting that whole deal down there. So they're having
Great bands and
Yeah, they're
everything.
having One Way. Man, they're having about 4 other bands on there.
Big old hot dog fest.
Big old hot dog fest right there.
Gotta get out there, man.
Yeah, this
I'm
weekend.
glad you told me that.
On the
18th and
3rd.
Vine.
Yeah, 18th and Vine.
Well, listen, Dr. Stubblefield, it has been a pleasure and an honor to sit here with you tonight. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you. This was fun. Like when you always first tell me, and I'm looking like, wow, the time did just fly by.
Hey, when you're having fun, time flies.
Yeah.
Before we cut out of here, is there anything you want to say before we end this?
Anything we didn't ask you,
express?
something you want to share to our audience?
No, I just want to say first, thank you for giving me the opportunity and to talk about the district and to talk about myself. And I just appreciate like individuals like you in the community who's trying to get information out in a different way, but also like important information. So just thank you. The only thing I would say is like, at the school district, our goal is always to do what's best for students, both academically and social emotionally. So before you make an assumption, at least reach out and allow us, to build relationships and make things right. But we welcome and are excited about our students returning in about a week.
Yes, ma'am.
2 weeks. I don't want to cut. It'll be a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, in about a week. Yeah. When this airs.
Well, thank you too. I mean, and this is what Enterrupt KC is about. We got to have these long form conversations for our audience, for the community, for everybody to know, versus 30-second clip of somebody saying something.
Yeah,
that's right.
No, appreciate that.
With that, we are officially back, Kansas City. Enterrupt KC, JL,
D-Rod.
And follow, subscribe, share this episode with Dr. Stubblefield. We hope y'all enjoyed, learned a lot. We are out of here. Peace.
Thank you.